Welcome to Learning Life Skills Together. This is our weekly community Zoom meeting where our guests help us to go deeper into the 4 life skills and open up a huge array of chances to practice them. Hello, everyone. This is Learning Life Skills Together weekly Zoom meeting number 80. And today we have with us Dr. Christine Moriconi, who is a big friend of Learning Life Skills Together. She helped us right from the start and has been coming back every time we sort of need some help with a transition period in the calendar or between the different modules of the program. So it is August, and in August there is that back to school flavor to things that's just beginning and that can get us thinking and feeling no matter how old we are. And so what we're going to do is what we do every time, which is to stop a moment for a practice to get ourselves settled and ready to think and to listen and to be in touch with ourselves. So I'm going to invite Chris to guide a short practice for us.
Well, thank you, Don. And welcome, everyone. And hoping that you're finding this moment for yourselves in an easy, comfortable space. And if not, kind of making that happen right now, whether you're sitting, lying on the floor, maybe you're kind of in your room or in some quieter space. And as we begin the sit, just finding yourself to shift or move in any way that feels supported to you. Closing your eyes or maybe resting your gaze on an object nearby and settling into your seat. Sometimes when I come into my moments here with you or in my own sit, I just am so grateful for the space that we're creating together right now, just to be here right now. Noticing maybe what's happening to you and what the experience is right now. Perhaps you've come from a busy day, maybe not. Maybe you feel some sense of urgency or relaxation at this moment. And just allowing the awareness of your body to be as it is. Relaxing more into your body if at all possible. In the here and now. And breathing in and breathing out at your own pace. Taking time to feel the release of the breath from the body. And breathing in and releasing out. As you soften here, connecting with the stillness or restlessness, maybe there's some movement that you need to have. Just connecting with whatever is arising and taking your time. Noticing any sounds that might be around you as you breathe in and breathe out. You might even notice the sounds within yourself. So you might notice the sound of the breath as it's coming into your body and releasing out. There's no expectation here, just being aware. remembering that in this moment, we're sitting together as we breathe in and breathe out. There's a connection. Listening to our bodies as we breathe in and out. Maybe even bringing to your mind a joyful or a peaceful moment that you might have had this summer with your child or a teenager. Might be hard to find. Just try to explore that and seeing how that feels in your body right now as you breathe into and out from this memory, aware of what the body is feeling right now. Easing into this memory, you might even remind yourself that your heart, your mind, your being are very connected to your child or the person that you're caring for. Connecting to all those feelings as you listen to your memory. And as we come to the last few breaths of this meditation, breathing in gratitude for this time of transition, for the good, the bad, the in-between. Breathing in deeply and allowing the whole body to feel the breath. And then gently exhaling at your own pace. Slowly open your eyes if they've been closed, or gently move around in your seat if you'd like.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, Chris. I'm in a different place than I was when we started. And one of the things that you said, just as you were closing there was, that there's room for everything, the good, bad, and the in between. And that's a really comforting thing and sort of, lets me let go and just say, okay, well, however this is, these feelings, this situation, here I am. It's okay. And it's going to be workable, you know. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about when I'm thinking about the whole back to school thing that I mentioned. Um, you know, we can have all kinds of different feelings about that, even like I say, at our ages, um, much less as a child or someone just starting school, even. So that's what I'm hoping that we're gonna be able to talk to and around today. It's
Yeah,
how do we invite everything in and make it workable? It's not too big a.
Not too
And
big.
ask, huh?
You're right, right. Well, I think that you're really important point. Adjusting to change and adjusting to expectations. I think those are like two critical issues. So change is always going to happen, right? We may not like it, might be invited, may be uninvited. And the expectations sometimes are that this should be a smooth, happy, go lucky, no big deal kind of time. And reality is that, you know what? You might have had a relaxed schedule. You might have slept in. The kids have, not really had maybe too much in terms of structured study time or other major stressors in their life. And so shifting into this change also shifts expectations. And that's kind of, you can be really excited about it, or maybe feel like a sadness or a longing, maybe some fear is coming up. But as you were pointing out, just letting yourself acknowledge that the change is happening, and bringing this up to yourself, your child, your teen before school starts, um, is a challenge, but it also paves the way for a smoother transition, maybe for everyone, yourself and your family or your kid, your children. So full disclosure, I'm a parent, a grandparent, and a former professor, as Don is. And so back to school has a bunch of different valence, a bunch of different kind of connotations for me. And I think it's always important to start with myself, or as either a parent or a grandparent, whatever role I'm in. Starting with ourselves is really the beginning of communication. So that is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
critical part in terms of communicating. Begin where you're at, first of all,
And
first and foremost.
that's a really big point that we're, working with in the module that we're just entering of connection. So it's the final module. It's the fourth, of the skills in learning life skills is to have this connection. And so to start from myself and from how I am is going to let me connect to me. And it's at that point that I can start to connect with my child, right? And or a child that I care about or care for, you know. So I think it's really important that we remember that we need to do that practice that we've been talking about from the very first part of the very first module, which is the stop practice, right? Just put a pause in, see what's going on with us. And when we have a sense, then we can go on. So yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I think,
That's there.
honestly, yeah, it's hard to do that. Like, if, say, for example, I have a kindergartner who is like really excited to go to school. I have a grandchild who is 5 years old. He's been waiting to go to kindergarten for a
Mm.
couple of years. He has a big sister and
Oh,
she's in second grade. So, she's like the big Mahoff in the family. She's
yeah.
a wonderful delight. But she, having her there is a comfort, and it gives a little bit of more safety and security. And I think that that feeling of being safe, that you belong and that somebody's there to protect you, I think those are critical elements in terms of like decreasing stress in this transition. So by that, I mean like saying that I statement is really helping to have your child, if they're 5 or 15, gee, as an adult, I'm feeling excited that you're going to get on the bus with your sister, but I also feel a little sad that I won't have the ease of the summer. And just acknowledging that
Mm.
might, might also help, your child, your grandchild, or the person that you're caring for. It opens the door to not just one emotion, but the underpinning, what's under that first emotion. So there's some excitement, but there may also be some worry, some fear, um, some joy in that you're entering a new phase of your childhood, like you're getting to be a big guy. So he's stepping into that role.
Yeah.
And so it's a incredibly difficult, but could be easy by what you're saying is start with yourself. Say, there's some positive and some negative feelings going on in me as you're getting onto that bus with your sister. And I just want to talk about it for a minute. That makes, I think, a little bit more of a validation point for a conversation to start about that, even if you're
Yeah.
talking to like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, it says that thing of, you know, everything is okay here to talk about, the good, the bad, and the in between.
Mhm.
Put it. Yeah.
Yeah. And in that way, ultimately, as you describe the feelings that you're having, maybe to turn to your child or the person that you're caring for and say, what's happening for you? Can you tell me a little bit about how you might be feeling? Um, so that, I can understand like why you want to, I don't know, why you want to have certain pencils in your pen, you want everything to be so perfect, you're worried that
I-
maybe you won't have enough supplies, or you are excited about getting your supplies, or you like everything new, or you don't like people picking out things for you. How that will help me understand
Yeah.
how we can problem solve together. And I think that's the second piece of this. So in describing some of the feelings that you're having, your child is, hopefully being able to kind of understand how to express their feelings, because sometimes kids just don't have the words for feelings. Like if they're worried, they kind of get angry, or if they're fearful, they kind of shut down,
Yeah.
depending on their age or their stage of development. And so normalizing this is as an important part in problem solving. So
Yeah.
describing feelings and then going into maybe problem solving. So say they're worried about a bully that maybe they had in school last year, and maybe they are worried that they'll be in class with that person. That might open up a conversation about how that child can feel safe, or what we need to put in place for that child to feel safe going into school, and what your role is in that process is really, really important to their adjustment to this transition. So I think that, problem solving together doesn't mean you have to solve the problem in that moment, but just to understand that you're working on it together, that it
Mhm.
is not a you problem or a me problem, but it's an us problem.
Yeah.
We can work on that together.
Yeah, that's so important, that sense of being held, of having a place where it's okay and we can talk and work on it and know that it doesn't have to be solved right away because we're still together. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, also the other piece of it is like sometimes people get all hung up in terms of like worry statements to themselves, or worry statements about school, or
Mm.
all that kind of thing. And acknowledging that is important, but focusing also on the positive pieces so that we look at both sides of things. And I describe it like a coin. You want to look at both sides of the coin. You want to look at some of the things that are maybe happening in emotional state that might not feel so comfortable, and then other sides of it, like, oh yeah, I have my best friend. I'm going to go see that friend that I haven't seen all summer, and that's going to be a really important part of this adjustment too, or transition too. Maybe getting involved in sports or other activities, something, positive in that domain to look forward to, or even uncovering like a desire to even do any of those extra things. Um, those are all part of this adjustment. Um, and keeping yourself available, especially in those first couple of weeks when kids are going back to school, especially the younger ones, from like kindergarten on through, primary school. Um, to say that, okay, well, maybe at the end of each day, what we should do is begin a ritual like we're doing today of sort of checking in to see how you're doing so that you're not just having a one and done situation, like
Yeah.
checking in to see how things are going and sort of making problem solving there, but letting the child know that this is like an ongoing thing that could be useful and helpful down the road so that maybe after dinner or sometime that you and your child decide, you know what, maybe right before bed or something like that, giving your kids extra attention, especially during the first few weeks and months of school, has a very good sustaining kind of ease in which that ongoing communication can persist.
Yeah, and it's not a big deal thing, but it's something that happens all the time. So it's a few minutes, I sort of feel like, what we said, we say, oh, okay, so we're going to do this every day, and so now it becomes like a thing rather than it's really, no, we're going to do it every day. Like we do the kinds of practices that we do in this program every day. It takes 5 minutes, it takes 3 minutes to get ourselves centered to do whatever it is we've chosen to do that day.
I think that's an excellent point. I mean, it doesn't mean that you have to sit down in a formal conversation either.
Yeah,
Like it could be like, oh, we can play a game of cards, or oh, we can like kind of hug each other at the end of the day. And sometimes I can melt into your arms, and some days I'm busy getting ready for soccer practice, but I still give you a hug.
yeah,
So each family or each caregiver has a way in which you can develop some of these skills or fold them in, as you're saying, to your daily,
yeah.
everyday routine. So it's not like something set aside as sometimes it'll be
Ex-
difficult, sometimes it'll be
Yeah.
easy, but
Yeah, it's
we
like,
have.
oh no, I have to go through this thing with mom now. You don't really want to set it up so that every time it's going to be, it can be really sort of casual. So, which brings me to the thing that we've been talking about from the very beginning of this program again, is taking a walk for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, with your child, with the child. And that's a chance to talk and you're side by side. And so it's not like I'm looking at you and how are things?
Hmm.
It's just a very casual, so how'd it go today? Yeah, so I love that and I think that people could really do that, you know. That's
Yeah.
that's the thing is, we can have all kinds of great plans, but if they're too complicated for us, we won't do it. But if it's easy and there's something that we get out of it, like
Yeah.
like
And I
the
think
feeling that we're together instead of on our own. I mean,
well, that together thing also happens within a family. Like I'm a grandmom, okay? So
hmm
my example is I was checking in with my granddaughter and she was getting all kinds of stressed out because she had like multiple assignments over the summer vacation that have to get like tied up and done. Um,
Yeah.
so instead of like just having her mom and dad kind of connect with some of that, she called me up and said, "Can we work on this project together?" So
Ah,
even
yeah.
expanding the circle of people that the child's able to kind of connect to helps to kind of fortify um, a foundation, an anchor that is both flexible and stable. safety again as our like feeling a sense of belonging, feeling a sense of being held, as you said. I mean, those are things that can happen beyond the mom and dad to aunts, uncles,
Yeah.
other people.
Yeah.
Because, face it, you have lots of, other responsibilities in life and people are, like for me, I was like so excited that I get to do a project with her. Whereas, um,
Yeah.
sometimes the parents like, oh my gosh, that's one more thing I have to do was really a lot of fun for me.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun for me. So, and it'll deepen our relationship. So allowing other people to kind of support you as the caregiver or parent is oftentimes, not available, but if it is available, it's just another wonderful place to find that sustainability and allowing that support that we all need in all these transitions.
Yeah. And so there's with the younger ones, with the little ones, there's all these opportunities to sort of set things up for the ongoing future. I was thinking that one of the things that we really emphasize in life skills is to have a lot of ways of talking about your emotions, to have a lot of names for the emotions. So with the really young ones, we're sort of able to do that when we're talking about our own emotions first, right? Which we mentioned. So maybe that's the place to start it. So it gives them some language, and we start to build more language that we can use as things go on. And I think that's kind of a bonus thing because the next thing I want to ask you about is the older kids. So
The older kids, yeah.
so depending on sort of, how things have been spinning out, how things have been going along, in the development of the relationship and of their ability to talk about themselves, how do we start to think about it when the kids are older? I mean, when they get to be tweens and maybe they're really feeling kind of anxious, but they are not so anxious to talk about it, right?
Right.
Oh,
Well, I think it obviously parents are the best expert at answering this question. My some of my thoughts are that um stepping back always to check in with yourself when you see a child shut down. And that happens a lot when like teenagers they don't feel heard or they're not like responding, like, how are you? And there's like nothing on the other side of that where
yeah.
you're not getting a reciprocity going on there. It just means that there's some like shutting down has been a way to avoid emotion or
Mm,
not connect. So the role here and being the recipient of some of that in a lifetime raising kids, um,
yeah.
sometimes you might take that as, okay, I'm not going to try anymore, or maybe they just need the space. I won't bother them. But the other side of that is always something that you have to kind of go to, um, that in those times of withdrawal, that the opposite might really be at the root of it. So I'm pushing you away so I don't have to look at that feeling. But the opposite might be, to approach and say, it's might be really difficult to talk to me about anything right now. But would there be a time that we could kind of think about even coming together for 20 minutes and watching TV together? So not even like the main thing to do is connect.
Yeah.
So that's the purpose of listening to yourself and listening to the child. So when a parent is maybe on the recipient end of that shutdown, you might have an urge not to connect. because you're afraid that maybe the person will, get angry or there'll be kind of a negative, like, response to this.
Mm,
So knowing to how to like kind of back down and say, okay, it might be really hard to talk about this right now. Maybe we might not touch it, but I just want to really be in connection with you. What could we like come back together in 10 or 15 minutes and watch
mm,
TV, play a game, or like you say, like approach it from another, not directly, but indirectly. And what you've done there is you've allowed control to kind of shift to the child or the teen, really,
hmm.
and give them more sense of no one's trying to invade my emotion. They're trying to be there, just be there with me.
Yeah.
That's really the hardest space to be with, I think, sometimes as a parent or a caregiver or a grandparent. You just have to sit with it for however, a few minutes, an hour, like give it time to marinate, give that acceptance a kinder place to sit and
Mm,
be with it. And those things are really challenging, I think. But they provide the teen or the tween with the idea that you're not leaving. It's the same thing that you're
mm,
doing as with a younger child, but you're giving more control and more autonomy to the older child.
mm. Yeah. So being there, being present, um, and available, I guess is the point, right? So if you want to talk, I'm here, I'm listening, and maybe we could do something else.
Well, what
Don't
happens
talk
is,
right now. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and what you're saying is, you know what? I get it. It's hard. You might not want to deal with going back to school. You might not want to deal with having to take the SATs. You might not want to deal with
Yeah.
a fight you had with like some other person in your class that's like over social media. There's might be so many things going on at one time that you just don't have the energy to express all of it. And as a parent, you want to kind of get in and not see, or a grandparent or a caregiver, you don't want to see anybody in pain. But finding the language for that to happen takes time, even with a little, with younger ones as well as with teenagers. So a teenager might say, well, I'm just mad at the whole thing. And I'm angry and I don't want to talk to you or pushing you away or in some way kind of alienating that connection. That tells you that it's too hard right this second to get into it a lot of times, and that you need to create an approach that accepts your feelings of needing to understand it. You don't have to take this personally, and that you're there as an
Mm-mm.
anchor for your child, but you also have to anchor yourself. You got to breathe in and breathe out as you're going through some of these difficult moments. And taking that space for yourself isn't too, and that might be useful too.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So, so I'm really interested in what you were saying about sort of finding the language or creating the language as being something that whether it's with the littles or with teens, that finding our way to a way of talking is really important. And so I just sort of keep coming back to that. How big a vocabulary do we have about these things? And, sort of how much do we develop that over time? Because, we're thinking about this as parents and carers, people who are with the kids for a long trajectory. And so it's a chance to really see, well, we've been here, we've been here, we've been here. And so, what's available to talk about and ways to talk, if I'm making
Well,
any sense.
yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah.
what ultimately happens is just slowing the process down so that we're going from a reactive space to a reflective space. I mean, slowing this process down allows a deeper understanding of what's really happening inside my own body, for example,
Yeah.
and start there. I mean, you don't even need to go to language. I mean, oftentimes that comes afterwards. So, if you need a few minutes and then we'll come back to this, that's one a way you can do it. Um, Asking what's your body feel like right now? Where's it hurting? Where is it relaxed? Is it relaxed? Can it relax?
hmm
Those kind of pace, I'm asking myself that as I'm in this conversation with my granddaughter or whoever.
hmm
Like checking in
Yeah.
with the body is always a deeper listening. So just like we did in the meditation today, in terms of listening to external, then listening to internal. We listen to like, I don't want to talk to you. Well, okay.
hmm
How's that feel in my body? Well, I'm feeling, and using maybe an I statement, I'm feeling like really tense right now in my body. My shoulders are really, really holding something deep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, that opens another space, or maybe even asking if it's possible to take a deep breath together and just knowing that that process is a trust right there. You know, when you're dealing with deeper emotions, just trusting enough to be able to breathe with someone is a real gift, when you don't even have the words.
Yeah. So there is this sense of belonging that, is sort of part of our module that we're in right now. And I'm hearing that as being part of this too, that creating a sense of belonging. Um, is
Yeah.
is something that needs to doesn't need to happen, but something that can happen at any of these, you know, developmental levels, whether it's the little kids or the teens.
Yeah, and ultimately, we all need to have that sense of belonging in order to survive as
Yeah,
humans.
yeah,
So, and it happens throughout the lifespan. Like, mm, um, you know, again, my teenage daughter, okay, or my daughters, my kids, my grandkids, all these people have given me a sense of identity and belonging. But that identity changes over time. So when you see a little one who has like needs for belonging, it could look like they run into your arms after their first day of school and they're very
right.
excited and they're crying,
Yeah,
or they're very excited and they can't get to sleep or whatever. Um,
yeah,
the same thing can happen and like with a teen, or a tween, that sense of, oh, I know we didn't solve this, but it was really nice that we just hung out for a little while together. I really liked that. We had some really, we had some tea and talked about, I don't, anything. It doesn't really matter. That sense of belonging transcends really, um, any words, any language. Um, it comes with the eyes. It comes with the facial
mm,
acceptance, of whatever's going to happen will be okay. We can handle this together, that you're
yeah,
not alone. You're not alone. And I think that that is critical. Um, for all of us, but especially the teens, because it does feel like the peer pressure, the acceptance, they're that's the critical pieces that they're confronted with at that stage of development, and making sure that we kind of communicate that acceptance, um, as we said, the good, the bad, and the ugly parts
Right.
of
No,
our being, that
that's it.
acceptance. Yeah.
That's it. To be able to turn and look at the thing that we don't want to look at. We spent a lot of time in the module before this one, talking about that, how, we need to be able to look at the thing that we don't want to look at, and to work on it and take a break from it, a nice healthy break from it, to get ourselves back together, and then we can go back to it until, we make sense of it or solve it, or whatever the outcome is. But that idea of being able to do it together to get back to belonging is really, something that I, um, can sort of spot across my own lifetime.
Hmm.
That when you have that, it makes things easier.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to do that work no matter what, but when you feel like you're doing it with someone, it really can lift you up a little bit. Uh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, when we get to the end of these things, I ask the guest, as you have been asked on a number of occasions already,
Uh-huh.
for some words of wisdom, or even a watchword, to make it really simple. What thought would you leave us with, Chris?
Um, I think that um just stepping back and accepting things as they really are might might be the most salient thing that I could kind of think of here. Um, because it involves acceptance, and I think accepting is critical to belonging.
Hmm. Okay.
Feeling that acceptance within your relationship with a parent or a caregiver helps you feel that sense of belonging.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the wisdom. I don't know. We're almost to a watchword there. Acceptance gets us to belonging. So I love it. And thank you so much, as always, for deepening our thinking and our understanding around these transition moments in the calendar and in our lives.
Oh, it's been a pleasure, Don, and I hope that everyone has an incredibly wonderful rest of the summer as we enter into the new year, new school year.
Indeed. Right.